The following may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Retired fireman erased during robbery. Robbery is believed to be the motive for the murder of a 76-year-old man of Coroni Savannah Road in Chaguanas who was standing outside a Playwee and Lotto booth at Jai's Bar, Coroni Savannah Road, Chaguanas on Monday. According to police, around 6:55 p.m., Mervyn Prescott, a retired fire officer last assigned to the Wrightson Road Fire Station, was accosted by a man and a struggle ensued. During the struggle, a gunshot was heard and Prescott collapsed. The assailants then escaped in Prescott's vehicle, a black Honda Vezel, registration number PDZ 2974. The vehicle was later found abandoned a short distance away. Investigators were told that the assailant was seen standing near the bar seconds before the shooting. Police officers who responded rushed Prescott to the Chaguanas Health Facility. However, around 7:30 p.m., he was pronounced dead. A worker at the bar who requested anonymity says he remains shocked over Prescott's murder. He was a regular. He always used to come to see what Marks play for the day. He was always very pleasant and kind. We don't know why he was killed, but more stringent measures are needed to deal with these criminals on the outside. They need to be hunted down by police and constantly monitored, the bar worker said. Prescott's next-door neighbor said the entire community is in shock. He was a real nice and quiet man who never meddled with anyone. Daily he would be seen in his garden tending to his plants. We are in shock because everyone looked out for him. It's so sad and frightening to hear what happened, the neighbor said. Prescott's son, who also requested anonymity, said he was very angry. I'm upset. He was coming home to his house that he worked hard to build. Everything is waiting here for him, and he's not coming home, and I'm just so upset. He said his father was a very humble man, always into his plants. That's why I'm doing this job now, as in watering his plants. That's what he lived for. He was very family-oriented. He was married for 35 years, married to my mom. Prescott's son said that his father was a regular at Jai's Bar, where he would go to play a mark and even have a beer. His son believes his father would have been monitored by his assailant, especially since his vehicle was recently purchased. The distraught man said he would remember his father for his forgiving and loving nature. I can fall out with him today, and tomorrow it's not a problem. You can disagree with him now, and in the morning all is well. He's dedicated, and no one has problem with him. Prescott is the third pensioner to be taken out in as many days. Man dies after being burned by assailant. A man who was set on fire on April 10 succumbed to his injuries at hospital last Friday morning. Police said a woman reported that on April 10, around 4 a.m., she was awakened by a loud banging on her door. She opened the door and saw her uncle, Curtis Isidore Williams, of La Horquetta Lane, Laventil, suffering from burns about his body. He told her someone had burned him, and with the assistance of a neighbor, she took him to the Port of Spain General Hospital, where he was being treated until he died. Investigations are ongoing. Convicted sex offender loses appeal. A 39-year-old man who was sentenced to a little over 11 years in prison for violating a 14-year-old girl over a decade ago, has lost his appeal against his conviction. Delivering an oral judgment during a virtual hearing yesterday, appellate judges Alice York-Suhan, Mark Mohammed, and Mario Wilson rejected all 6 grounds raised by Peter Andrew Davis in his appeal. In the appeal, Davis's lawyer, Derek Redmond, had claimed that the judge who presided over the client's case failed to consider that it would have been difficult to provide an alibi as he was charged with committing the offense on an unknown date over almost 3 weeks in May 2006. Justice Wilson, who delivered the judgment, said that Davis had ample opportunity to provide details of his alibi to be verified by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP. Redmond also questioned the judge's direction on the issue of consent, as he noted that she gave varying accounts of what had transpired. She said stop because it was hurting, not stop because she did not want to do it, he said. Wilson noted that the incident began well before the victim made the statement. Redmond also complained that the judge improperly placed emphasis on the victim's age when at the time the age of the consent was 14 as opposed to 18 now. Wilson said based on the evidence, it was Davis who had repeatedly raised the issue of the victim's age. She pointed out that he asked the victim her age and told her that she looked big for her age. When he was arrested, he told police, "Officer, she like me, but I no sexing no little girl." According to the evidence in the case, the incident took place in May 2006 as the victim was walking near her home to meet with her cousin by an arcade. Davis, who was 24 years old at the time and knew the girl and her family for several years, stopped his vehicle and offered to take her for a drive. When the victim refused, he offered to take her to the arcade. However, when she got in the car, he drove to a friend's house where he assaulted her. After the attack, Davis forced the teenager to have a shower and then allowed her to walk home. The victim eventually told her mother, who took her to the police station. In passing the sentence on Davis, former High Court judge and current appellate judge Gillian Luckey read from the victim impact statement. In the harrowing statement, the girl said that she was still traumatized by the incident. "Although I wear a smile on my face, it is fake. It has also affected my mother. She does not say anything, but I know it does. It made me feel as if it was my fault," she said, as she claimed that she had attempted to take her life twice. She also pleaded with the court to pass a stiff sentence. "I want the court to send a message to men who prey on young, aspiring girls. I hope God has mercy on Peter, but I would believe he would suffer for the way he tricked and forced me," she said. The DPP's office was represented by Travis Sinanan. Man granted bail after violating a Venezuelan migrant. One of 3 men from central Trinidad accused of violating a Venezuelan woman last year has been granted bail. Terrence Robinson, Joel Williams, and Joshua Ramlakan appeared virtually before Magistrate Adrian Darmani on Monday. Ramlakan of Bank Village, Carapachama, was granted $150,000 bail, while Williams of Freeport and Robinson of Carapachama were denied bail because they were charged while already being on bail for unconnected offenses. The incident is alleged to have occurred in October last year. The victim told police that she was standing at Isaac Junction in Couva when she boarded a vehicle which he believed was a taxi. The driver and 2 occupants took her to a savannah in Bank Village, Carapachama, and assaulted her in a room in the pavilion. The trio is expected to reappear in court on May 17. Barrackpore man erased in his home. Barrackpore construction worker and gardener Rajkumar Bisnath was found dead in his home with his throat slit. News of his demise sent shockwaves throughout his hometown at Kimoto, South Thrace yesterday. Also known as Bobby and Black Boy, Bisnath was last seen alive around 3 p.m. on Monday. His friend, who lives at the same address, saw him by the junction near his home. The man told police when he returned to Bisnath's home around 5:30 a.m., he found his body in a pool of blood. Bisnath's throat had been cut. The 52-year-old victim's common-law wife, Roma, had moved out of their home more than a year ago after she got sick and went with her daughter. Bisnath had no children. As word spread about his demise, several villagers gathered near the crime scene as the police conducted inquiries and interviews. Bisnath's mother, Zaytul Foster, better known as Tanti Pinky, said he was the last of her 9 children. She said yesterday morning her granddaughter called her with the bad news. She said, "Grandma, I hear they kill him." I say, "You mad girl? You crazy? Bobby is live good with everybody." Foster usually saw her son every week. She said her other son would usually help Bisnath plant and tend to his garden. Although crime is rampant in the country, she never thought it would reach her doorsteps. No, but the old people say, what don't miss you, don't pass you. Before the undertakers left, the police allowed Foster to see Bisnath's body in the hearse. Confident that the perpetrators would be brought to justice, she said, "Everybody has get justice. That's why I go and touch him. I will get justice. I who make him, so I will get justice." Superintendent Dilpaul and Inspector Lewis were among officers of the Homicide Bureau of Investigations Region 3 and Barrackpore Police who visited the scene. Man taken out while sleeping. Homicide detectives are now probing the death of a 31-year-old Maraval man who was killed on Monday morning. Police reported that Maurice Ronel Joyeux of Philip Trace Maraval was at home when a short, stocky man broke in and shot him as he slept around 2:30 a.m. After the shooting, the assailant ran off. Police found .45 shells at the scene of the crime as well as 1 live round, which they hope will yield the fingerprints of the assailant. No motive was given for the crime.